I'm not gonna lie. I feel like a lot of people who are starting brands now haven't come to terms with the fact that, hype culture is pretty much over with. They're not understanding the economy that we're in, and they don't know how to identify their brand or what they want their brand identity to be. And that kind of leads me to the next question, right? Before, again, I get into the next thing about the boxing part of my brand, because there's a whole lot to that. I just kind of want to touch on this also. I guess you could say it's almost a part two, though, where it's like there's no wrong way to start your brand, right? Or there's no right way to start your brand. But here's what I'll say. I did say there's not necessarily a right way to do your brand, but there is a wrong way. And the people that are, and I see it all the time, right? People, they start brands, they try to put like, hype imagery and like hype. They try to kind of almost as if it's still 2015, 2016, right? And I was watching these videos about the death of sneaker culture and hype culture, right? And I mean, to be honest, it was all for the greater good. There is no way, that bubble economy would last with Supreme dropping bricks, shovels, and things of the like. You know what I mean? It was getting out of hand. So it's a good thing that that came to pass. The pandemic honestly sped it up, because now we're in a post-pandemic economy. People don't have a lot of disposable income. So you have to think about that when it comes to who you're trying to appeal to. You still want to be something that's refreshing, something that's new, right? You still want to be something that is realistic, something that integrates well into somebody's daily life. People are wearing, for the most part, just a lot of, like, there are people who are trying to, put that shit on. They're wearing like Spider, this and that, right? But there's a lot of people who are just really big on still, either thrifting, wearing vintage pieces, whether it's designer or whatever the case. And even designer has minimalized a lot. Minimalism has become the new move. And it's not necessarily a new move, but trends like bigger clothes, right? And just clothes that, clothes that fit, bigger clothes that are not extra skin tight, joggers, things of that nature, kind of came and went. Now we're pretty much back to a lot of the roots of this shit again, which is just, you seen a lot of people wearing big denim. You seen a lot of people wearing leather. You seen a lot of people wearing, puffers never really died, but you seeing the end of that hype culture, right? And I see a lot of people when they start their brands, they try to put I've seen people try to put their name inside of a box logo. I see people, they'll go and get images on Google and kind of try to stylize them and make them some type of something that's kind of like, it almost gives off like a deep or profound type of thing. It's a bit, how do I say, pretentious, but I've seen people try to appeal to that hype culture. I'm gonna tell you right now, that is one thing that you definitely do not want to do. You don't want people to get the vibes of like, man, this is that corny stuff. This is that you trying to be like, this is the hype days. I see people who, they got lean cups on their shit. They still doing that. Dirty Sprite. I've seen it. And let me tell you, bro, before you start, stop where you at. All right. Do not look at Supreme. Do not look at Bape. Do not look at any of these brands that have been around since the early 2000s and 90s and stuff. They're legacy brands. That's what you call a legacy brand, because they've been represented by icons in pop culture to where no matter what they make, they can't fall off. They've reached a point where they can never fall off. You are not there. I am not there. Okay. Now I'm building my brand up for longevity, right? Foundation is key. Patience and playing a bit of the long game is key. Establishing yourself in a space is key. I'm at the point now where it's time to just drop. You know what I mean? It's time to just drop. So that's what I'm doing. But it took time for me to get there. It took 2 years for me to get there. Like I took the process of research and development, logistics, quality assurance very seriously before I decided to say, okay, let me just come out with stuff, right? So I mean, if you go, it's almost kind of brings me back to the fast fashion wave, but this is a little different because of what people are trying to capitalize on. They're not trying to necessarily be H&M, or they're not trying to be Uniqlo, or they're not trying to be Zara, or whatever the case, right? They're trying to be like, they're not trying to be Supreme, because Supreme got storylines, and there's a lot of reasons behind why they blew up and why they have been around for so long. They're part of skate culture. They have a culture. They belong to a culture, right? Which I'll talk more about in my next video. But when you try to appeal to something that was a complete bubble economy, that is a complete bubble economy, you're setting yourself up for a quick demise, an early demise. You're gonna be dead on arrival, because they're gonna look at your stuff and say, why would I wear this when a Supreme shirt is $40? Realistically, hype doesn't sell out anymore, right? Sneakers don't sell out like they used to. Hype doesn't sell out like they used to. People are not buying bots and sweeping out the Supreme website in 5 seconds anymore. You can actually go on a Thursday at 10 a.m. and go and get a shirt for $40. You can get a hoodie for $150 or $130. You can get a sweatsuit for $300 or two something. You can get jeans. You can get their denim for like $225. You can get shit from them, right? Even some of their bigger stuff for like $300 to $500, depending on what you're talking about. You can get their collabs. They're still available. It's not worth, trying to reinvent the wheel. You have to find your own lane. If you show up looking to be in the hype game when you haven't earned the right to be hype, because now legacy is the only thing that makes anything hype anymore. The artificial value, people got rug pulled too many times, especially during COVID. But really before that, really during COVID was where when people had a lot of disposable income and they put a lot of money into a lot of this random stuff and were trying to resell. Because I played the sneakers game for a while. And the thing is, you learn value is perceived, okay? But true value is established when you have a long stake and you're the backbone on the frontier of a culture that is blooming, right? Which is why it's important to follow what you're interested in and follow your gut, and pay attention to what you're actually into, what you're actually good at. Again, Supreme is a skate brand. They belong to skate culture. Now, skate culture is a subculture of hip hop culture, rock culture. It's a subsections of multiple different pop cultures that exist, which is the reason why it can be so big, because skating is worldwide. Now you're seeing people all over the place participate in the X Games and shit. It's an international thing, right? And they had a passion for it, and that's how you get the Tyler Creator look. You know what I mean? Even the Dipset, Mike Tyson, and then you get Kermit the Frog. Even you get everybody just like, oh, let me throw on a little Supreme tee, because why not? It's $40. They make, literally, and they just sell out. They don't drop unlimited quantities of stuff. They operate as if they're still a small brand, and they're very grounded, and that's how they're able to make a lot of money. So they stay true to themselves, even all the way to this point. There was a little bit of time where Supreme was like a little shaky. People were saying, but that was really when just the hype economy was falling off. Supreme, they still do the same thing. They do the same thing. So they play, they fuck around. You have to establish yourself in a culture. You know what I mean? You have to establish yourself and either represent a culture or create one. Plain and simple. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. Hype was fake. It was perceived by a bunch of people who wanted to be. It's no different than the crypto game. And when crypto bubble popped, because it popped, best believe it did pop. Now, whether or not it'll resurge or it'll go and have full integration, we won't know until this AI shit is over with. And because to be honest, even the AI bubble is gonna pop. They're about to put ads in AI. You know what I mean? So everybody is looking around and they're having a bit of an identity crisis. And if you're going to pull up and represent, have a brand and represent something, build a foundation, you're going to need that trust, because people are only going to buy from who they can trust. When they do their research and they do their due diligence to see where you came from, it's getting to that point. The integrity and legacy are only things that hold up. You know what I mean? That's what these videos are for. People are going to be like, man, where does this fool come from? Where did he come from? Who is this dude? You know what I mean? This is what I mean. This is part of what I mean. So take your time. Okay. Order pieces. Make sure they're quality pieces. Make sure that you're actually trying to appeal to, the people that you're looking to sell to. Do not just come out and try to be like, yo, I got this celebrity wearing my stuff. I got this celebrity wearing my stuff, so I'm here. Because that comes and goes so fast. It's not sustainable. Don't bet your bottom dollar on hype. Otherwise, you're gonna go out like the NFTs. When the NFTs were going crazy during COVID, when everybody had extra bread and they were just buying everything, right? Look up an NFT now. NFTs ain't worth I don't even know the code they were developed on. They went from being worth millions to being worth $150. All of those coins where people were like, oh yeah, nah, during COVID, bro, they were ripping all of you niggas off. They ripped out all you niggas off. How much of that EDD money y'all still got? How much of that EDD money did you save? Y'all ran up all them bands and blew all them bands. All my PPP loan, my SBAs, how much of that cheese you really still got? So again, you got to think, people have been ripped off from all of what looked like, oh man, I could get rich. We getting money for free. They gave y'all one good look and a lot of y'all folded and threw it away. So you have to understand who you're selling to. People are disgruntled buyers right now. Their trust is very, 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 very hard to earn. Okay, their patience is very low. It's very thin. Y'all president, not my president, y'all president is out here wilding right now with, some of the things that he's implemented. And I mean, who knows what's next? Because the war tax is going on, gas is going crazy. Like, you have to think about it. So again, if you want to last, you have to be able to exist in people's daily life. You have to be able to blend in seamlessly while also standing out. Make people feel as though they're, make them feel good, but at the same time, make sure that they feel as though they're getting their money's worth, and that they're investing their money into something that they feel like they're actively supporting. Okay, we're not Nike, we're not Adidas, we're not what I call bot shops where people just mindlessly be like, oh, I want a long sleeve shirt to go work out in. Look it up and it's the first thing you see. No. You know what I mean? We're already niche. But the thing is, we're building. We're building. And I think that while Supreme is a great person to look at as far as being a part of a culture, representing a subculture, to me personally, the person who's doing it the best, where people, they don't mind investing in them, is Larry June. He's appealed to many. He represents elevation, positivity, and being healthy. And his fans respect him. You know what I mean? And he has over 1 million followers now, and it was organically built. But he doesn't need to have 1 million people buy his stuff to be on, because he stayed independent. That's just that Northern California mentality, bro. And that Bay Area cast is, they just go and they get it. You know what I mean? So, to be honest, we a different breed in NorCal. Out the trunk, guerrilla mentality. You know what I mean? And no matter where you are, when you see this video, don't be afraid to just go post up with your stuff, man. Trust your dope. That's the rule of thumb. But don't be out here trying to just make it extra hype, wailing. Okay, don't wail your way and overinflate yourself, because when the tide falls, okay, you're gonna be in a world of hurt where them dudes that had all them sneakers, and I'm not gonna put anybody else's content on my channel. Okay, this is strictly original content, so I'm not gonna put it here. Okay, but there were people who were straight up like, hey, I have more sneakers than I know what to do with, because they overinflated it. It was hype. Okay, rising tides raise all ships, right? That's true. But it was overinflated. A lot of people didn't understand it was a bubble economy. They did not buy modestly. They over consumed, or they overstocked. They had a bunch of back stock, and then randomly one day, people stopped buying shoes because the shoe companies were like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and kill the scalp game. We're gonna release a bunch of our silhouettes that everybody likes. We're gonna release the Jordan 1. We're gonna release the Nike SB. We're gonna and they got cooked. I know designers who steal designs, and then they just drop it from a way higher platform, destroys your whole brand just like that. You know what I mean? That's why trademarking is important. We'll get to that. But I've seen it. That's why I'm letting y'all know. I'm just warning you now. If you're thinking about going in on some hype shit or trying to be on some hype shit, or you're taking influence from someone that seemed hype at the time, or even to this day, you don't understand the reason why they're popping. It's not because of the designs, okay? Trying to copy, it's not worth it unless you produce actual reps. Replicas are hot right now, and that's a quick way maybe to generate some cash. Allegedly, I'm not gonna say to make a fake version of somebody's brand, but yeah. So, you know, food for thought. Take from that what you will. I'll catch you on the next video, man. I'm gone.